Welcome to episode 125 here of Drew's Sports Crew. On this Sunday night, myself, Drew Skyberg, bringing you the news here in the Wisconsin sports world. All right, we just wrapped up one of the worst weekends of the Milwaukee Brewers 2023 season as a disappointing sweep by best team in baseball. We'll talk about that, but we also have to talk about, the Packers training camp. We touched on, this being the big thing last week. I went through the dates. Now we can kind of actually talk about what's going on. And great help, Matt Schneidman of The Athletic. Again, his work, he does a great job. Link to his article down below. We'll be discussing kind of what he saw in training camp and what's all going on from his lens, but also just overall, furthermore, those dates, other things I heard, and then kind of, formulating how we're feeling so far. So those are the two big things here. And then also we have to talk about schedules, and we have to talk about what's going on Thursday, August 10th. It's coming up here. Summer's flying by. Thursday, August 10th, the live show, right? I was advertising this a month or two ago. I was like, okay, I can put this on my calendar and come back to it. No. Now you got to circle it on the calendar. It's coming up here. 7 o'clock, Petskill Brewing Company in Manitowoc. If you, for all information, it's on at Drew Sports Crew, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. It's everywhere. Find it, Drew Sports Crew. But again, Thursday, August 10th, it's in Manitowoc. 7 o'clock, we start. We're going to be going through some fun stuff. NFL, there's going to be some betting stuff in there. There's going to be games. Packers, right? We're going to talk about Packers. We'll give our honest record predictions. We'll talk about breakouts, all this good stuff. I mean, you can even get some fantasy football stuff in there. It's going to be a lot of fun. So keep that on, circle that again. Good food, good atmosphere. And I'm really looking forward to it. So check that out. And schedule wise this week, we threw a little curveball in there. So last Monday we did an episode of Journey Million, Zach Rouse, Jared Vleski, and myself. A little curveball was thrown in. I was at a Brewer game Wednesday and Thursday, and just worked out last Monday ended up being the day. But then last week we talked betting yesterday, and if you followed the slate, if you followed or tailed the lineup, it was a winning lineup. I promise you that. We had some really good calls, and I was pleased with the results. Of course, right? There's always things to improve upon, as there is with everything, right? But I was really pleased with the results yesterday. Ian Happ homered again. I was like, well, we talked about him against Sam Wainwright. He's going to homer. He did it. So that was fun. But going to this week's schedule, Journey to Million, right? Us three, Zach Rouse, Jared Vleski, myself. Will be Wednesday around 4:30. We'll be live doing games, all this fun stuff. And then the betting show, right? Drew's Baseball Crew. We got to talk about what's going on for this slate. I'm thinking Saturday morning. I think that's going to be the move. Again, we're going to be doing a grid, right? I got to do a immaculate grid, just get the baseball mind going. It didn't go too well yesterday, but oh well. And then next Sunday night, episode 126. I think we're going to be around that. Might be Sunday morning, but I'll keep you posted on Saturday on that. Also, I'll have it scheduled out nicely, so you can check it out on YouTube. But anyways, just check out all the content, right? Power rankings, team of the week, betting stuff, right? Got it all. Also, I've been doing a lot of fun rankings, like the blind rankings challenges. I think those are fun. Check those out. Let me know if you disagree or agree, because that, as a sports community, that's how we get better, is, comparing our thoughts, compare our opinions on sports things, and maybe we'll learn a thing or two. And right, the best thing about sports is you can always change your mind, right? We can always, if you think player X is better than player Y, someone brings in some evidence, someone tells you something, maybe a new perspective you didn't think, you can always change your mind and just say, hey, I changed my mind. Good point. Thank you for bringing that up. Whatever. Beauty of sports. Let's roll here. Packer training camp. We'll start there. Why not? So we talked about the dates for it. Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday already passed. If you want to go tomorrow, I'm serious. You can go tomorrow. And the article we talking about from The Athletic covers a lot of yesterday's, so it's pretty relevant stuff. So if you're listening, driving into work Monday morning, listening during the day Monday, or just listening on Sunday night, I appreciate it. But you are hearing recent, relevant news. So we have Monday, July 31st, camp practice, 10:30 a.m. there, and then so we have Monday, Tuesday, Thursday this week, 10:30 for all three times. Packer Family Fun Night already coming up here Saturday night, 7:30 p.m. This year, I won't be able to go. I will be at a Brewer game, and I will talk about the giveaway at the Brewer game I'll be at. But this is going to be probably a Packer training camp, Packer Family Fun Night. This is one where it's going to be interesting, right? Love's running the show. Love to see how that turns out. Haha. Yeah, I said love twice. But really, I mean, I think it's going to be a fun time. Looking forward to seeing this new offense. Really, I know Matt LaFleur is still here, but it's going to be a new offense. I promise you that. And just seeing some of these new rookies, seeing some of these new players, right? Lucas Van Ness, seeing him. He's practicing with the first teamers, right? Jaden Reed, Romeo Dobbs, thumbnail of this video, Romeo Dobbs. Love what he's been up to. Of course, I had, Christian Watson leading the way too. So those are the dates we're looking at. But talking about camp yesterday, there's a few things Matt Schneidman talked about that I was like, we need to talk about. He does a great job again. Find his stuff in the link below, or in the description below, rather. And he had some good takeaways that I felt were, came from the Packer, community alone. But the big thing for me is the kickers, right? We know Crosby, unfortunately, his Packer careers came to an end, but right, they drafted Anders Carlson. They drafted him there, I believe, in the 6th round. And so far it has not gone as expected. So kicking's one of those things where it's like, okay, how do you judge how they've done so far? Like, is this just a fluke? Is this reporters? Is this anxiety? Right? What's going on? But what happened was, right, he was a 6th rounder. He made only 1 of 6 attempts, which that does not include a 19-yarder he made, is what Steinman highlighted. And then the big concern was he's missing. He was missing the ones in the mid to late 40s. He missed one. He missed some like 50-yard, 53-yard. So, that's something you don't want to hear, right? Especially the inaccuracy. I think the big thing, okay, if you're inaccurate, right? If he made 1 of 6 from 50 plus, 55 plus, right? Especially 55 plus. Okay, you're like, okay, like, are we expecting him to be like, Justin Tucker? Not right away, no. And that's might not even be a realistic thing to like say, right? A great kicker, but we expect him to make more than 1 of 6 from let alone 50 50 plus, or making from any, like, even in the 40s, right? So that this is concerning. What we could see is, what I speculate is, Packers could definitely, they could hold some tryouts for some other kickers, maybe some undrafted guys. We've seen these stories. We've seen, we could also see maybe a vet who is not with a team right now get a spot. Mason Crosby still, I know might not be what people want, but I don't know. Anders Carlson, we're rooting for him. Just hasn't worked out so far. I'm sure, right? An NFL training staff can help a kicker here develop in terms of just getting some more accuracy down. And that's just a theme from camp, especially yesterday. So just gotta keep that in mind. But yeah, Van Ness, first snaps with the starters. Love to see that. So he's working so we think about like Zadarius Smith, right? And Preston Smith, the Smith Bros from right when we remember that 2 years ago. Now we're looking at like Van Ness and Smith, because as we know, right, we're waiting on Gary, tore his ACL last year. Still waiting on him to be ready to go. He's still on the PUP list, I believe. So that's something we just got to monitor. But it's a plus to see that, see him back and all. But otherwise, I mean, the defense is definitely, I think, going to be a focal point of this team. And seems in camp it so far has lived up to that to an extent. I mean, I also want to highlight Steinman's, headline too was Packers defense prevails. I probably should start with that, his article here. But he does highlight, right, Jordan Love did have a good day, 16 and 22 across those 11-11 drills. So that's certainly, expected here. But I think another key takeaway from camp, which we knew coming in, I've talked about this, is we know Love's a starter, right? We have a good idea about who's going to be the stars. It sounds like also from what I've seen speculated and just videos in camp, Luke Musgrave looks like the guy at tight end. Tucker Kraft might be just a guy who rotation comes in there, but it looks like Musgrave is gonna be the guy for blocking and just every down work there in tight end. I've been often a skeptic of Musgrave's pass catching ability. I think that's not that he's a bad pass catcher. We saw Oregon State. Right? He was good. He was all in a small sample size. He had bright moments. He had some moments where he shined, but I feel for his game specifically, I feel like that's where he lacks. And he's a good all around tight end, right? Good prospect, second round pick, draft capital's there. I think like Musgrave for him, it's passing's gonna come, or the pass catching ability is gonna come, but I wonder how it's there right now, and I wonder how Love's gonna rely on him, right? Because he can't cut. He's got to get separation one, but also right, Love's got to throw him the ball too. There's a lot of moving parts there, but I think Musgrave's going to be your guy tight end. My point being is I have a feeling that we know where a lot of guys are going to end up. I think kicker's the biggest question right now in terms of who's going to start. Like that's the one I feel like really couldn't tell you who I think is going to be the guy. So I think that's interesting. I also think Jaden Reed, Romeo Dobbs, who's wide receiver too. I do think it'll be Dobbs to start the year. And I say this in terms of who's going to target share, right? But I do think Reed will surpass him by the end of the season, is my opinion, but not to take away from Reed here. Backup quarterback, though, is the other spot. Right now, Danny Etling, Sean Clifford, who was drafted in the 5th round, and then the guy who made the news, right, USFL MVP, Alex McGough, who ended up getting some snaps as well. All three of them are working in there. Right now, I'd imagine taking performances aside, it sounds like they all did decent, right? Nothing huge takeaways, but I would suspect Sean Clifford would be the number 2 guy, the 5th round guy they just drafted. I would expect him operating as the number 2 guy to start behind Love, but that's just me. We'll see if other guys in camp, anything I see, or again the Athletics Matt Schneidman, who actively covers camp, will see if there's any other updates there. But that's the Packer camp takeaway. I will be able to report on Family Fun Night next. Again, I won't be at it, but trust me, I'll be watching some highlights. I'll make sure, right, to see all what's going on, and I'm looking forward to sharing that with you all here. So that'll be fun. And again, that's what we're looking at for Packers training camp. Again, dates this week. I'll read them one more time here. Tomorrow, so Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, 7:30 or 10:30 a.m. rather. Saturday, August 5th, 7:30 p.m., which is Family Fun Night. Again, thank you, Matt Schneidman's, or thank you to the Athletic, Matt Schneidman, that article. Great stuff there, great reporting. Link down below if you are interested in checking out the full article. So let's go here to the Milwaukee Brewers. Transition here from football to baseball. And we'll talk about an exciting trade the Brewers made and a disappointing weekend series against Atlanta. Maybe just a little bit about that. But first, again, I was at the games Tuesday and Wednesday. I saw a loss and a win, rather. And look, that first one on Tuesday, let me tell you, I'm going to just go right to that game. They won Monday 3-2. Another close game. Good pitching performance. Good win. But going to Tuesday, they're down 4-0. Just going to go there. They hit a 2-run home run to go up to instead double it from 2 to 4. Fans were all leaving. Ninth comes around. We're sticking around, of course. That's what you do in baseball. And the Brewers get a rally going, right? And Yelich hits a 3-run home run, and then they get a guy on base. Right, Contreras gets on base, and then pinch run. Like it just all worked out. Stolen base, and it was like, okay, they can do this. And yeah, Monasterio unfortunately ends the game there, but he had a big game Wednesday, so it's like he made up for it for sure. But almost come back Tuesday, Wednesday 3-0. They win. They finish a dominating season series against the Reds. I believe they were 10-3, something like that, of the nature of that. So they're the reason the Brewers right now actually half game back, but have stayed around second place or stayed around first place in this division is the Cincinnati Reds, which, as weird as that sounds, is actually true, right? But going through, they have an off day Thursday, and then the bottom three of the rotation square off against the best offense in baseball and one of the best offenses we've seen in the last few years. And listen to how many runs the Brewers gave up in a 3-game series. Are you ready? They gave up 29 runs in a 3-game series. It was not in Colorado. It was not at that park in London where everyone hits home runs. It was not in Mexico City where everyone hits home runs. No, this was in Atlanta, Truist Park. So my point being is, look, Brewers put up some runs too, 7, 5, and 6. This was the most offensive output we've seen in a Brewer 3-game series since their 4-game series first week in July, or if we actually go to an actual 3-game series since like the Pirates series in a month ago. My point being, we don't see this much offense come around for the Brewers, and the pitching unfortunately did not make the most of it, which usually it's the other way around. So just funny how this team can't just get that one thing to click for like both sides, unfortunately. But pitching, it was a struggle this week. Saturday, I think, was the worst. We love Julio Teheran. We're rooting for him. Fortunately, now in the 15-day IL, but it was not a good showing for him. He was getting crushed. Hauser didn't have it Friday after having a lot of strikeouts against the Braves last go around. I thought they were going to win Sunday then, right? That was what we were rooting for. And it just didn't work out there. Of course, they're against the lefty too, but the Brewers' offense looked good. Like the offense was putting up runs. They had some leads. They had leads in like every game this series. Is another fun stat, but just couldn't get it done. Right, Matt Olson had a big day, 2 home runs on Sunday. Yelich hit a home run though. Right, Carlos Santana hit a home run. I haven't even talked about that yet. Olson's up to, I think, 35 home runs. Ozuna's now to 22 home runs. He had a big series. How many? 4 home runs, I think. Everyone hit home runs in the series for Atlanta. Payamps got the loss. Payamps had his, unfortunately, probably his worst showing of the season. And it's like, okay, he gave 2 runs. His ERA is now over 2. But just not going the Brewers' way, You're rooting for a win here on Sunday. Didn't happen. But like the offense again, the bright spot this series, Contreras hits a home run. Frelick makes great plays. 0 for 4 though on Sunday. But really, I mean, you like what you saw from this team offensively. I say it like that. Colin Ray had 8 strikeouts, so it just shows this approach by the Atlanta Braves. They're swinging, right, and they're gonna strike out. I just find that crazy how like Colin Ray had 8 strikeouts. I think it's Colin Ray, but we know it's not his game. Strikeouts are not his game, and it worked out in his favor in terms of strikeouts. He still gave up 5 runs in 5 innings, but only had 5 hits. So again, extra base hits were the issue. So from this weekend, good news, you don't have to face Atlanta anymore this season, barring the postseason. But even better news, like what I want to highlight before we'll talk about the Santana trade and about like I want to talk a little bit about this next week here. I mean, this schedule, like for the rest of the way out in terms of like the rest of August here, it's not bad. It is, you have a series against Nationals, so you have 3 games against the Nationals, 4 against the Pirates, 3 games against the Rockies. and Rockies at Milwaukee. So right there, the Brewers always struggle in Colorado. There's 10 games right now. That's a 10 game stretch against below average to really like to not so good teams. So my point is, what do we think is a realistic? What do we think the Brewers should finish in the stretch? Like 7-3 would, like, anything worse than 7-3 would feel like a disappointment, in my opinion. Right? You should beat these teams, especially you have the Rockies on at home. Brewers need to win these. So I'm hoping that's going to be the case here. And then White Sox for 3 games. White Sox are selling right now. I mean, we've literally seen it. They've already traded. Lance Lynn's gone, right? We've seen Lucas Giolito. He's gone. So my point is, like, they've traded. They traded away some bullpen. I expect that's going to be huge for the Brewers down the stretch. So that's going to be good. But then going more into it, Dodgers and Rangers, those series are going to be tough there. That's August 15th through the 20th. But if you think about that, that's 2 weeks of teams you should be beating. You have the Cubs at the end of the month. There's Padres in there. The Padres are sellers. I think that's going to help the Brewers out here. The worst thing here is Jordan Montgomery just got traded to the Rangers. We know Jordan Montgomery, lefty, who was just on the Cardinals. We know he was a Brewer. He was just a menace to the Brewers, right? He was a guy who, when he pitched against the Brewers, he pitched lights out. So we know that's going to be an issue if that's the case. But again, point is, probably right out of all the games in August, you probably have like 60 to 70% of them are favorable. They are in your favor. You should be winning these series. So that's big down the stretch here. Plus having that tiebreaker against Cincinnati, it's like having an extra game. They have to win this, like, if they tie. So you can really add +1 to the division lead the Brewers will take back here this week. I am expecting a 6-1 week. Reason being, right? You might be like, okay, you're probably just saying that because you want the Brewers to win against these bad teams. Well, of course I want to win, but how the pitching lines up for the Brewers, it's favorable. I mean, in this series against Washington, they're going to be facing, it looks like, 3 righties. Top of the rotations back. They just pitched the bottom 3 in the rotation. Brandon Woodruff, he's going to be in Nashville, actually. So when we say he's coming back, he is ramping up right now. It looks like he will be back. I always said August, and looks like we're going to be, like, he could make his debut next weekend, or like this upcoming weekend. I don't think maybe that'll be the case, but he'll make his debut sooner rather than later. So 6-1 is what I got. Works out well against the Pirates too. Just good matchup, as the Pirates have struggled. They've already sold off some of their assets, and 6-1's what we're looking at. I do want to talk about the Carlos Santana trade here and a little bit about the team here before we wrap up. Carlos Santana, of course, got traded to the Brewers. They got the first baseman they needed. They had a bottom 5 OPS for first base out of all baseball, and they get him from the Pittsburgh Pirates for Johnny Severino, an 18-year-old prospect whose numbers this year, he's more well-regarded, I believe, but the numbers this year so far have been not so great. Right? I mean, when I say not so great, like, the power's been there, and this is just in the minors. He's 18, he's young. Average is 255 right now in the minors, which you don't like to see at this late of, or at this level, right? He's already got 10 strikeouts and 51 at bats, only 1 walk. So, like, there's some things, the glaring things there where you look at and you're like, okay, well, it's pretty hard to correct strikeouts and whatnot, but slug percentage at 627. He's got 5 home runs out of his 13 hits. So, like, massive power at the shortstop position. You'd love to see that. But it's gonna be, he's a guy who's gonna take a few years to develop. So he's not at like single or double A yet. I believe he's just in rookie ball. So it's gonna take some time. And we're monitoring that. They have him Brewers had him in the Arizona Complex League. Looks like the Pirates already moved him to the Florida. Yeah. They moved him there to the FCL Pirates, the Florida Complex League Pirates. So there you go. Anyway, but that move in general, good for the Brewers. First base vet, who good power. I think an underrated thing actually with Santana is he's a good defender at first. He's a former catcher, good instincts. I mean, he just has a feel for the game. He's a switch hitter. He's what the Brewers want. The average at 233, but the power's there, above average. Maybe not at first, but with that position weight. But he's a significant upgrade to what the Brewers had, I feel. So, like the move. Again, Yelich keeps it up so far. Pierce Verslecki's actually back with the team. We love to see that. I honestly missed him. I thought he had a few rough outings, a rough stretch. Pitched well in Nashville. He's back with the team. So, love to have him back with the team in Milwaukee. But otherwise, we're waiting on Anderson. Looks like he'll be back too coming up. That's going to be big for this team at third base. We did like Jahmai Jones, right? It was fun. That first, pinch hit at bat he had, but just hasn't worked out since that, which is unfortunate. Really rooting for him. Andrew Monasterio's been a guy also, I guess rounding out some other standouts from this week, who have just stepped up. Monasterio's still batting 295, OPS 778. You love what Monasterio's done, and he's gonna stay on this team down the stretch. I feel like he might be moving with Terang a little bit, who has still struggled, but Terang needs to stay against righties. Defense is just such an asset for him, so he's going to stay with this team, I feel. I'm also waiting on Rowdy. I wonder how he will be, and Winker, they're supposed to both be back soon. Rowdy, actually, I think Rowdy might be late August now, to maybe even into September, so maybe not too soon, but Winker and Anderson should be back here within the next week, so keeping all those guys in mind. Also, shout out Tyrone Taylor for that home run, on Wednesday. Some good stuff from him. And yeah, we need rotation help. I said Woodruff's coming on the way. Wade Miley, I expect could be back in a week from now, but might be he's on my radar more for the following week. So that's where I'm at with him and this overall rotation. We need some help here. The ERAs are all over 4 except Wade Miley and Corbin Burns. Yes, I said that. That's what we're looking at right now. Even Peralta, who has just been skiing strikeouts like crazy, 131 strikeouts in 109 innings, puts up 14 strikeout performance against the Reds. Yes, ERA 4.46, 6-8 record for. Right, I know you can't really control that, but yeah, ERA there's something to note. So 6-1 for the Brewers this week. Gonna be good pitching performances. Yelich is gonna keep it up, and we're gonna see. I'm thinking some more home runs. Right, hoping to get the power still going for this team. Maybe we see Terang, catch some fire here. A lot of righties here in this series. Definitely gonna have him in the lineup. Why not? Bryce Terang catching fire this week. That's my prediction. It's gonna be a fun week, and hope you all have a fun week as well. So that's going to wrap it up here for myself, Drew Skyberg, at Drew Sports Crew, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, Drew Sports Crew, YouTube, and Facebook. All right. Thank you all for listening here to yet another episode of Drew Sports Crew, the perfect podcast for you.